Mike Tyson, often referred to as one of the most intimidating boxers in history, earned his reputation as a beast both in and out of the ring. Known for his explosive power, incredible speed, and fearsome knockout ability, Tyson dominated the world of boxing in the 1980s, becoming the youngest heavyweight champion at the age of 20. His fearsome persona and ability to strike fear into his opponents were unmatched. However, Tyson's life wasn't just about boxing. It was also marked by controversy, legal troubles, and time spent behind bars. Tyson's journey into the criminal justice system began with a life-changing event. In 1992, he was convicted of the rape of an 18-year-old beauty pageant contestant named Desiree Washington. The trial was highly publicized, and the verdict shocked the world. Tyson, at the height of his career, was sentenced to 10 years in prison, although 4 years of that sentence were suspended. This conviction marked a significant turning point in Tyson's life, both personally and professionally. His once promising boxing career was abruptly interrupted, and his image took a massive hit. Tyson was sent to the Indiana Youth Center, a facility that at the time was intended for young, non-violent offenders, particularly those from wealthy white families. However, by the time Tyson arrived, the system had changed. Overcrowding in Indiana's prisons led to the inclusion of adult offenders, including those convicted of violent crimes, in the youth center. Tyson's arrival at this facility was a striking contrast to the environment that the prison was originally designed for, especially considering that he was one of the very few black men in an overwhelmingly white facility, which added an extra layer of tension and difficulty to his time there. During his incarceration, Tyson was housed in a two-man room that offered a little more privacy than the traditional cells. The room contained 2 bunk beds, a toilet, a small cabinet for belongings, and a desk for studying or writing. While the conditions were far from luxurious, the setup allowed Tyson a degree of isolation and space to reflect on his life and circumstances. This, in some ways, gave him an opportunity to maintain his mental focus and resilience during a turbulent time in his life. Despite the relative privacy of his room, Tyson was constantly surrounded by violent offenders and other dangerous individuals. It became almost inevitable that conflicts would arise. Tyson, however, was not a man who would shy away from confrontation. His tough persona, both inside and outside the ring, made it clear that he would not be easily intimidated. In fact, Tyson's time in prison only seemed to sharpen his sense of self-preservation and his willingness to defend himself when necessary. Tyson was known for carrying a weapon while in prison, highlighting just how serious he was about keeping himself safe in such a volatile environment. In interviews following his release, Tyson reflected on his prison experiences and admitted that his fighting spirit had never left him. He had, after all, spent his entire life fighting, whether in the boxing ring or on the streets. In prison, he faced numerous challenges, including threats and intimidation from other inmates. Yet, instead of backing down, Tyson became more resolute in his determination to stand his ground. He understood the psychological games that prisoners often played to establish dominance, and he refused to be a victim of those tactics. Tyson knew that in such an environment, weakness was a liability. The key to surviving and thriving in prison, he believed, was to stay strong and not allow anyone to manipulate or control you. Tyson also learned the importance of asserting himself. He made it clear that in a place like prison, respect was something that had to be earned through strength and confidence. He said that inmates would often test you by making sarcastic or provocative remarks, attempting to see how far they could push you. In those moments, Tyson knew that it was vital to stand firm and nip the behavior in the bud before it escalated. He understood that if you allowed someone to make light of you, it could signal weakness, which could lead to more trouble down the road. For Tyson, maintaining control over his environment and showing his strength was paramount. Despite his fierce demeanor, Tyson also experienced the grim realities of life in prison. He witnessed the dark side of the penal system, seeing things that were disturbing and difficult to comprehend. He spoke candidly about the terrible things he saw during his time at the Indiana Youth Center, describing how the corruption and depravity within the system were often worse than anything he had ever faced in the boxing world. Tyson's experiences in prison exposed him to a harsh reality that few people in his position had ever encountered. After spending 3 years in prison, Tyson was released on parole in 1995. He quickly returned to the world of boxing, where he aimed to rebuild his career and reputation. His first fight after being released was against Peter McNeely in August 1995 in what was dubbed Tyson is Back. The anticipation for the fight was immense, and it marked Tyson's return to the ring after his incarceration. The fight was over in just 89 seconds, with Tyson delivering a brutal knockout that demonstrated he was still a force to be reckoned with. McNeely's manager jumped into the ring to stop the fight, fearing for his fighter's safety, and Tyson was declared the winner by disqualification. It was a dominant performance that showed the world that Tyson had not lost any of his formidable skills during his time in prison. Recently, a video has surfaced showing Tyson in a fight during his prison sentence. The footage reveals Tyson in a moment of intense aggression, displaying the same raw power and tenacity that had made him a legend in the boxing ring. His speed, strength, and sheer determination were evident even in the confines of the prison, and the video has since gone viral. Fans and critics alike have marveled at Tyson's abilities, which remain sharp despite his circumstances. The video serves as a testament to Tyson's unmatched talent and the unwavering fighting spirit that stayed with him even when he was behind bars. Watching the footage, it's clear that Tyson's intensity and ability to dominate were not confined to the boxing ring. His raw power, combined with his relentless drive and focus, made him a dangerous adversary, no matter the environment. For the person on the receiving end of Tyson's punches, it must have been a terrifying experience. Tyson, even in prison, demonstrated the same ferocity that had made him a feared champion in the boxing world. Though Tyson has yet to comment publicly on the leaked footage, its release has sparked discussions about his legacy. It reminds the world of the impact Tyson had on boxing and how his fighting spirit transcended the ring. His time in prison, though a dark chapter in his life, did not diminish his skills. In fact, it may have sharpened them. Tyson's story is one of redemption, resilience, and the unyielding desire to prove himself, whether in the boxing ring or in life. Today, Tyson remains an iconic figure in sports history. His career may have been marred by controversy and legal battles, but his achievements in the ring are undeniable. His knockout power and dominance in the late 1980s cemented his place in the annals of boxing history. The footage from his time in prison adds a new layer to his mythos, showing that his strength, both mental and physical, never wavered, even in the face of adversity. Mike Tyson may have had his struggles, but his legacy as one of the most fearsome fighters in the history of the sport is secure.